Tony Wigley. I'm a freelance copywriter and a published author, and I'm a liveaboard boater.
And I'm Vicky Wigley, the missus, and I'm a graphic designer.
So when I first got the boat, it had built-in sofa, which I ripped out in the first week and got a sofa bed in, which is much easier. You can't get the cracks now. Real liveaboard game changer is this little thing here. It's an inflow water meter that lets us know how much water we've got left, so that the water doesn't run out while Vicky's in the shower, which is always a good thing. Don't mean me wasting water.
Yeah.
Vicky will tell me off. The new stove.
Yeah.
On a back boiler, this system is absolute genius. These copper pipes take hot water as it rises down the boat to 3 different radiators, and then the cold water comes back along the lower copper pipe into the back boiler in the stove. So we've got radiators, hot radiators down the boat, which is great. We had the boat cut in half and an extra 11 foot added in, and that extra 11 foot starts at about here. This is where the galley used to end, and all of this is new.
Oh my goodness, right, okay.
And this is what we colloquially call the orifice, and it's where Vicky and I run our businesses from. Essentially 2 standing desks. Vicky does a lot more standing than me, I have to admit. But Vicky's station is there, right behind me.
He's looking a bit sad there because we'd emptied out all of his worldly belongings. It was heading off to be stretched, so it looked bare, very sad. And yeah, it was. I think it's probably a bit of sadness because your bachelor life was coming as well. So we dropped it off in the October of 2017, and it was missing until May of 2018.
Oh yeah, can you play this video? He was stood on this aluminium beer barrel, yeah, no goggles on at the time. He put all these on for me to film. No goggles on, no gloves on, no guard on the angle grinder, just grinding away like old school, not care. That's it, cut in half.
Yeah. We
We had to take the ballast out of the cabin area to counterbalance it so that it was lighter on the front, but it still didn't put the back end in the water. It wasn't until we put the weights in there the back end went back in the water.
Where did you live while this was happening?
Some friends of ours who live in southern Scotland were doing about 3 months road trip. So they said to us, as you know, rather than you renting somewhere, would you come and look after our house and look after the dog? And that's what happened. So it was just perfect how it all fell into place.
But for the cost of having the boat stretch, we could have bought another 50-foot boat. But that wasn't the aim of the game. The aim of the game was for us to live together. And also going around the country looking at 60, 62-foot boats just took forever. And you don't know how much it's going to cost. You don't know how long it's going to take to sell this boat. You don't know how much you're going to get for it. Yeah, we even almost bought a butty.
It's already at 50 foot, aren't you? And any extra...
And a 20-foot butty
right.
makes it 70 foot. So in single locks, we could have gone front and end. But if you go in the locks on the Leeds and Liverpool, where we spent a lot of time, you would have had to put it side by side in the shorter locks. And it was just going to be a pain. So in the end, we decided the best way to do it was to have it stretched. That way, we knew the boat we were going to get. And we did love this boat. The shell of this boat was lovely.
Yeah.
We knew the boat we were going to get. We knew how much it was going to cost. We knew how long it was going to take. And that was great for us.
And we could make the layout of the interior perfect for our needs, because any other boat that we bought, inevitably we'd have probably had to rip out a good chunk of it and
if you want an office.
for an office.
Yeah.
Whatever we did, we looked like we were faced with at least a 20 grand refurb job to make the boat do what we wanted to do.
So instead, we spent the money on the stretch and had exactly what we wanted.
A boat with a really sound shell.
And we're really happy with it. You know, it's still our original boat. It's still the lovely, you know, well-made, pretty-looking boat as a shell.
How many years after?
30.
30 years after it's been built. And how many years since the stretch now?
That was 2018 it was finished.
Right.
Started in 17.
And the most interesting thing is the bloke who built the boat 30 years ago at Stoke Boats is the guy who did the stretch.
No way.
His name's Bob the Boat Builder.
Yeah.
And he recognised the boat and he said, oh yeah, I remember your boat. We did it like this, didn't we? And we had one of those on it. And he told us all the stuff he'd done on the boat. And apparently the boat was built for the guy who owns Phones for You. It was built for him.
Yeah.
So we took it back. And the boat, when he built our boat 30 years ago, it was one of his first boats that he built.
It's 35. It's 1987.
Is it 35 years, isn't it? Goodness.
And he retired that spring after he finished the stretch. He retired, so if we waited another year, Bob
He wouldn't have been
done the
there.
work for us.
So we were one of the first boats he built and one of the last boats he stretched.
Good old Bob. I hope he's enjoying his retirement.
Yes. Oh yeah. The important feeding station.
I got another hatch. That's cool.
Yeah. We had another hatch put in. So this is the hatch where all the local ducks and geese and swans know to come for food. They treat it a bit like a burger van at 3 o'clock in the morning, and quite often you hear them tapping on the hull wanting some food, so we have to get up and feed them.
Down here, we've got a stock of...
Vicky's stash of duck and goose and swan feed, which we're never without.
Nice.
What else have we got? Okay, the Fisher Price washing machine. It's amazing. It's a little Chinese thing, come from China. I think it was about 85p or something really cheap anyway.
Yeah.
And it's a twin tub. You might remember those if you're in your 50s like me or older. Washing in this side, and then it spins in this side, and we put it out on the line outside to dry. But this is a real game changer for liverboards. Instantaneous hot water. I turn on a tap and it fires up and gets hot. And it's a really ace bit of kit. It's one of the easiest and most convenient ways to heat water, but they're getting frowned upon by the boat safety scheme now for some reason, because it's got a naked flame. How it makes that naked flame different to the naked flame on your cooker, I don't know, but we've still got one, so until it dies we can keep it. Here we have the bathroom with our infamous compost toilet.
Woo! Oh,
Again, this is all new boat down here. But we're about to get a new compost toilet. Did I tell you? We're buying a new compost toilet, just a prettier, plasticky, more up-to-date version. There's nothing wrong with this one. We're going to sell it actually. So
The offer's there if you would like that
if
offer.
you need it, just let me know. I can do whatever you want. And then this is the bedroom, but of course you don't need to.
That's out of limits. Okay, guys.
We're going to show him your dog leg tiller. It's okay for me, but for
So
Vicky.
for me, if I'm going any length of time, I'm trying to steer. I'm like this. I get up on the back here, and I'm still. So after about an hour, I get awful shoulder pain. I just can't manoeuvre it. So I can't remember exactly, but this piece of wood came out of a huge machine that they had in the factory, and it needed some wooden components inside. So we fashioned this bit of hardwood up to make my handle. And it had some little pieces missing.
Oh, yeah.
So because there was a little notch out of it that for whatever it was being used for, it made me some finger holes.
That's so cool.
I can hardly fit into the boat engine bay to do some of these jobs, and Vicky seems to be able to contort herself into the small gaps and get it done. She also did the water tank, just basically got inside the water tank and scraped up all the rust, came out looking like Donald Trump. People keep asking me if I can rent Vicky out to do jobs on their boat, but it's not going to happen.
No.
The thing is, she likes doing it and she's very good at it. There's jobs that would frustrate me that I would never persevere with, and Vicky will just scratch her head for a few hours and then work out how to do it. I used to have a real panic every time something went wrong with the boat. I used to worry that it was broken. I didn't know how to fix it. Didn't know anybody who could fix it. Didn't know where to go to find somebody who could fix it. Didn't know how much it would cost. Didn't think I could afford it. Oh my God, it's all gone wrong and the boat's going to sink and then I'll die. And that was kind of my train of thought when something went wrong with the boat. And nowadays I can just say, hey Vicky, you know, this is happening, and if Vicky doesn't know how to do it, she'll find somebody who can help.
Right, so as we're walking back this way, Tony, is there anything else we've missed out? Clothes storage in here.
Yeah, this is Vicky's clothes
Nice.
storage, which again is in the new section. When Vicky wanted to move aboard, there just wasn't room aboard a 50-foot boat.
Yeah.
So,
Because you were single, and then
Yeah.
you met Vicky.
I was a little bit feral
Yeah.
before Vicky moved.
I can't imagine
aboard.
that.
She's
but-
largely domesticated me and the dog. Not entirely, of course, but largely. But yeah, Vicky somehow managed to fit all of her shoes in there. The world's smallest bookshelves. It was a nightmare to reduce my library of books to these small sections of shelves. It was a real headache, but we had to do it. We had no choice. If we wanted a functional office space, we had to cut it down.
What's the Wi-Fi situation like on your boat?
Improving.
Yeah.
Improving. We used to rely on this here dongle. But only since we've been here in the last month, we've realised that that's insufficient. Vicky's been working to try and improve our internet recently. So in addition to the aerial that we've got outside on the top of the boat, she's also got this... Oh, is it an antenna?
Antenna.
Sorry.
Right.
Is there an antenna?
Correction.
Good job, Vicky. And it's absolutely vital for us. We work with some really big files. We have to have good internet. There's just no way around it. I had a meeting recently. I had to drive into Market Bosworth and sit with a laptop on my knees in order to do the meeting because the internet just fell off a cliff that day, and that's not an option for us. It's just not an option. So
What kind of things do you publish from your boat? What sort of media?
quite a bit. So a lot of it is obviously magazine work for magazines like Waterways World. So there's large files for that. We produce museum interpretation. So if you go to a museum and there's something in a case and you don't know what it is, so you read the blurb on the panel. We write the blurb, and we also write guidebooks. We also make films. So, for example,
Tony, what are you doing with the snake there?
don't ask. No, we've worked with snakes for about 30 years, and part of the work we do is to publicise good, responsible keeping.
You do that through the videos and publications? and
Yeah,
stuff like
that's
that.
right, yeah. So I've got essentially two books. The Liveaboard Guide, which is very specifically about living on a canal boat. And then the second book is the Narrowboat Guide, which is a bit more generic. It's more about, more covers hiring, leisure boating, share boating, buying a boat, mooring a boat, how to use a boat, locks, bridges, etc. So this one's much more generic. But this is the second edition of this book that's just come out. I wrote it. Vicky did all the graphic design and layout inside, and most of the photographs are ours as well.
And you've done this all on this boat?
Yes, yeah.
That's amazing.
We wanted to call this How to Not Die
Right, okay.
on a Narrowboat.
Yeah.
And it's all the information that you're probably told when you hire, or you should have learned before you got a boat. But you know, there's a lot you can get wrong. So the idea with this is that it's written in small bite-sized chunks that you can kind of dip into and out of. You don't have to read it in order. You can just come and grab a section about, oh, how do I heat a boat? Well, there's a whole section on it. You can put it next to the toilet and read it in, read it in small sections.
Cool.
But yeah, Vicky did all the layout, I might have already mentioned.
So what does that include? Like just sort of where the pictures go and text and size of the fonts and everything?
You got it, but it's actually more important than that because it affects the user journey. If the photo that describes the text isn't easily accessible or next to the text, it's difficult. Or if you've got tables that are split up over 2 pages, or the...
Oh, there's a picture of you.
Yeah, Vicky and I. Our compost toilet journey.
Oh, yeah.
It's a fascinating story, I can tell you. Absolutely fascinating.
Brilliant.
The one we got was one of the first editions, and it still works really well. If you really do want to buy that toilet,
Hey.
it's there.
Guys, this offer is available. Just
You
drop
know,
in the comments below. We'll sort
Tony's
you out. Don't worry.
toilet. It's a collector's item. Most of the photographs in here are ours, or ones that we've taken while we were on our journey. which is quite a nice kind of diary of our life aboard, you know. I wrote the book, but all the information came from the people that I've met along the way. When I was younger, when I first got the boat, I made so many mistakes, and people bailed me out and stopped me from dying on many, many occasions. And part of the inspiration for writing the book was that I should be paying it forward, this information now. I've been doing it nearly 20 years, and there's a whole new raft of new boaters. Boating's more popular than ever. And quite often people are making the same mistakes I was and learning as they go along. This is kind of an easy access guide to boating. You know, you can never cover everything, and I'm no great expert, but the information in this book has been handed down to me, so I'm handing it on. And a lot of the people in the book you'll see are people who are part of the story and part of the learning curve that I went on. So yeah, I owe a great debt of thanks to those people.
Well, thanks so much for showing me around your lovely home, and it is, like you said, definitely set up for liveaboard living
And working.
Yeah, and working, which is sadly a part of life. Okay, go. Ah, you bastard. Got me there. Totally got me. It says go to the front of the boat, film outside the front of it. I was expecting the light to come on, and no. This is the real Tony. This is a real Tony that I know.
I mean, Vicky's clearly out of my league. It's unfunny.
Yeah. Oh man, my ears. See you later, Puck. Right then, I'm gonna love you and leave you. Thanks so much for having me again. Yeah, it's just been a great excuse to hang out with you, really, to be honest. But thanks for showing us around your pad. See ya. Bye. Oh, you're gonna have to let me out this gate because I think there's a lock on it. It's the trouble with marinas. They're just too secure, aren't they?